Peace and blessings, y'all. How you doing? This is your boy Gerald. It is Wednesday, the 16th, 2015. How is everybody doing? How was your weekend? How was it? Was it peaceful enough to navigate through? You sidestepping the negativity? You starting to allow your footing in your life to be more solidified. You're starting to be aware of your surroundings, and you're starting to see the synchronicities of cause and effect. But guess what? You're growing. So how you been? Doing all right? I hope so. Hold on 1 second, okay? Give me 1 second. All right. Gonna bear with me. Starting my day just like you. I sure am. Starting it with a smile. Let me ask you something. Tell yourself you love you. Did you tell yourself that you loved you? Hmm? Yeah, I'm talking to you. You! Why aren't you doing it? Why are you still fighting the things that you need to do? So you got to come to understand something, y'all. If you want to have the life intended, you got to be willing to do the work. You got to be willing to step out of that comfort zone, which is nothing but uh, behaviors that were learned through your environment, because that's how we learn. We learn by emulating as well as validating perceptions that we know as knowledge. Think about it. Think about your education, no matter what the level is. You had to emulate the pattern that was being conveyed. You had to, that was the first form of learning communication, which is never a mastered art. It is constantly required that you work at. That's why it's so important to listen. Sometimes some of your greatest communication is nonverbal. It's through body language. It's through just allowing your personality to display how you feel inside. That's the whole point of it all. Fortifying what's inside of you. I see your worth. But the question is, do you? If you think for 1 second that you were brought on this planet by the Most High, I know him as my Lord Jesus Christ. If you think that you were here to facilitate a life of misery, I'm here to tell you, you got the wrong flyer. That's not you. What you're going through is not you. It's an aspect of you, but it's not your destiny. I was telling someone the other day, I'm a firm believer that if God wanted you to suffer, the whole reason why you are going through the trials and tribulations that are part of your life and your development, your reality would never change. You would be, that would be a living constant, kind of, or more proverbially like Groundhog Day. That's all you would be doing. Think about when that first disappointment occurred. It was identified. And depending on how you assessed it, decisions were made. Some by you, some not by you. But eventually, there was some resolution. Now you're on the outside looking in. See, this takes courage. You understand it, right? You also understand that no one's going to do your work, too. That's why you see this all the time. You see, it seems like people just lose their everlasting mind, or it seems like the proverbial, they go on this trek like the leprechaun looking for the pot of gold, endlessly thirsting for themselves through other people and experiences, only to add more disappointment. First of all, these people that you're connected to all share a commonality of thought. That's what brought you together. That's what the law of attraction really is. I know there are people out here that are going to romanticize it, but when you peel back that onion and look to the core, it's all spiritual. That's what it is. And that is why some people grow, some people don't. Because you got to be able to claim you. So, let's dig a little deeper, right? I want to make this video is about when you are going to look at that emotional backpack that you know is your traumas. Why there is a reason that you have to do it. Now, I haven't decided if I'm going to put the explicit content on there, but I will be mindful. I'll try, because all that is conveyed to you comes from the Holy Spirit. I don't write none of this down. It comes out of me. I believe that it is to reach the intended heart and mind. It's to reach you. It's to give you the validation that you know we're near the end of your road. This is not your end all be all. This is your validation that, yes, you are loved from the Most High. And yes, those who loved you, that were with you, that have transitioned, are letting you know that they're concerned. They're letting you know that you're not alone. They're there. They make their presence known. We know them as spirit guides. But you have angels as well. They serve as a means to protect you overall. Spirit guides are more or less people that you had a connection here on earth that have transitioned, and they're on the other side, and they're letting you know that, hey, I love you so much, not even the heavens can keep me from you. So you do have a responsibility, not only to yourself, but your lineage. See, that's one thing I've come to learn. When you genuinely love a person, I'm talking the human being, that energy never goes away. It doesn't. no matter what choices are made here, it never goes. It doesn't die. Love does not die. It is transformed. And I think a lot of you are starting to come to see that now. So, you're okay. I was just like you. And guess what? I too have a lot of work still. So we're doing this collectively together. And you know why? He loves you. You haven't, when the work is done and is validated, guess what? Glimmers of your life to be will be revealed to you. You'll start to see them in your dreams. Sometimes it plays out like someone has a, remember when you were a child, they had that toy called the Viewmaster, and you put the little circle thing in there, and there was really photos. You drop it in the slot, and you go, yeah. You start to see those in the daytime or at night when you're at peace. That is your synchronicity letting you know of what's to come. But guess what? That can't come to pass until you, I'm not making light of it, because I was the same way. It can't come to pass until you claim you. So here's the price on that. Everything that was false, everything that was not in your best interest has to come off. Think of it like this. I know that somebody right now, your self-esteem is very battered right now, very low. And unfortunately, 50% of it was by your doing. You signed off on it because it's your experience. And the other 50% was the environment that it was in. I know that some of you desperately, or let me back up. I know a lot of you are helpless romantics too. Ah, but the people that you're attracting in your life had no love. See, you are romanticizing the concept of what love should be. Your interpretation, the description of it. You wasn't internalizing it. In other words, that's just like you saying to yourself, hey, I'm going home, and you're at your front door, and I give you a set of keys that look just like the keys that you have, and you can't get in your door because it looks like it, smells like it, doesn't mean it's the real deal. You understand what I'm saying? See, God cannot and will not allow you to squander a blessing. He won't. He won't let it go down. He's not doing that to punish you. Please believe that. But see, I understand that a lot of people that, you know, they have a mindset of, I'm going to use I'm only going to give the least amount of investment to receive the maximum result. And then they're shocked that it don't, what they get. So let's look at your life. That beautiful life, that beautiful spirit. You guys don't even realize how blessed you are because you're at a turning point now. I got this feeling right now. Some of you are finally coming to a place of acceptance and you realize that you have a severe anger issue. You have this anger issue because underlining, you've been tormented. It's like you have a deep wound that has not healed, and unfortunately, you're exhausted. That's why you're like that, to snap on someone. That's why your mood swings are like this. Someone says hello to you, you want to slit their throat. It's 7:30 in the morning. Why are you so grouchy? Or you may have been told, I don't know how to take you because you're not approachable. Now that right there, it depends on the scenario because of what they may be misunderstanding, misconstruing, that they may be seeing your boundaries, and really you're hypersensitive. So, or in other words, people will say this: you have no cut cards. You don't have the energy to sit back and see the whole scheme. You just want to go A, Z. Bump all in between. I'll figure it out on the fly. Your life is not supposed to be figured out on the fly. That's why I always convey to you, take the stopwatch away. If you take the stopwatch away, you'll be more responsible. I know that needed to go out with somebody. My queens, I understand that deep down inside, you long for your mate. You long for someone to get you. And you're tired of being got. I can feel it right now. Someone's saying, I know, Gerald. I'm every time I try, I always end up on my back. You signed off on that too. Gotta own it. I was telling somebody the other day, I don't care how much money you got in the bank or how strong you are as a man. It will not match what is needed to open a woman's legs. See, at the end of the day, it's her body, and she does with it as she feels. So therefore, it's very important that you have sound mind now, right? Because we already know the impulse don't work. I know somebody's saying, yeah, yeah. Some of y'all learned a really valuable lesson about being spontaneous. Some of y'all are still nursing wounds from that. And I'm going to pray for you for that one. I know. I know. So now's the time that you liberate yourself. Now's the time that you stop bullshitting. If you want to be happy, truly, I'm talking childlike, you got to do the work. So let's start this journey. You're going to have to go inside your emotions. And I highly recommend that you go off of what's most important and prioritize it. If you decide, no, you have to have the courage to look at that initial wound. No, you cannot downplay it. Look where your downplaying has got you thus far. So you got to understand that I've come to understand when you uh, attract trauma in your life. Hold on, let me hold that thought. Let me put some clarity out on something right now because I don't want you to misunderstand what I'm trying to convey. I understand there may have been things that have occurred that you had nothing to do with. You had no control. What I'm referring to is a sexual assault. Incest, well, that is sexual assault, or someone took advantage of you. They, you know, First of all, let's claim your footing on that one. It's not your fault. It's not your fault. I'll do one better. Some of y'all are dealing with the wounds of date rape. I know I'm talking to somebody. You're thinking in the back of your mind, well, you know what? If I never put myself in that position, the possibility of that occurring may have been minimized. I commend you on partial ownership. Sometimes we do play with the flame, push the envelope, see how far that rope is going to go. Yeah, that's cause and effect. Does not mean it's right. What'd you learn out of that? No, that doesn't give you a right to hate women. Doesn't give you a right to hate men. No, it doesn't give you a right to use manipulation and deception to go through life. I'll explain. Women, my queens, you know the game that you play? I call it dangling the carrot. Yeah, that game. You offer me this, and I give you that. This is a game that many women play, and it's a very dangerous game because you're dealing with another person's life. Really, you're dealing with someone else's spiritual energy. Some of us know it as karma, but I also know it is really it's divine intervention. But until you get burnt, will you possibly stop? Do you realize that every choice that you make that is not in your best interest, that you embrace, that is a lesson you have to unlearn. That's another thing that you have to ask forgiveness for. You have to atone for it. That's why some of you may be going through a heartbreak. Somebody may be going through, I got a feeling somebody's going through a major financial loss, like property or something. I got a feeling, you know, your life as you knew it has been reset. Because guess what? You think God's going to let you go through life not on your own merits? No. Mm-mm. But let's go back to the point at hand. Some of you, your traumas go all the way back to your childhood. You got to admit it. My kings, some of you have mother issues. Mommy was not there. Mommy was not nurturing. Mommy was not stable, and she took her frustration out on you. You think that didn't set a tone on the way that you see women? Queens, I ain't got even, where do I start? Some of you have major daddy issues. That's why you date older men. That's the real reason. You do it because of stability as well as security. Maybe possibly your father was in your life and did not do what was needed. You think that did not have an impact on the way you think and see the life, see your world as it is? Why do you think that you've gone through a turnstile of men? Because you're searching for something that will heal that wound. You want to heal that wound? You got to stop lying to yourself. And what I mean by that is the peace of mind, the inner peace that you desire will never be found by all the countless men that you allow inside you or just in your midst. The constant choice to have a false sense of self. That's nothing but your ego. That's why you hear alter ego, alter personality. Altered personality disorder. So what makes you think that your life is going to turn out the way you envision it? It's an altered state. So until you decide to get back to that little girl inside who's been crying, that is numb. That's why you see so many people, you see these women acting like boys. Yeah, I said it. Yeah, queens. Your behavior is like little boys. You run around with no accountability, sleep around thinking that as long as I don't get caught with the cookie jar and it don't have no effect, your body has the history all. You'll come to see that your body is the biggest tattletale ever. Mm-hmm. See, those a mature man, he can look at you, not to say a word, and I already know what type of person you are, just by your. I'm not talking about the clothes, just by your structure. He knows. He knows. He knows what you do and what you don't do. Same goes with women. You know. You know. That's why it's also good to be still, but not to lose sight of what I need to discuss. And I'm looking at this clock, so I'm going to kind of spread this out. You've got to make a conscious decision to look at those traumas. If you want the life that you envision in your spirit. Because I'm going to tell you what, if you allow your brain to formulate what you perceive as the life intended, let me tell you what, number one, you're going to be disappointed or you'll be surprised. If it's divinely meant, guess what? That blessing will be a blessing that you will never be able to fathom. It will surpass any of your expectations because that's God. That's why it's very important that you forge a relationship with Him. It's not His responsibility. His responsibility is to oversee His dominion here on earth as in heaven. But one of His greatest gifts He's ever greatest one of His greatest forms of love of displaying love, is the creation of you. There only will be one you. You don't believe me? Watch this. Why do you think they keep coming back? Huh? Yeah, I got somebody's attention. That's not coincidental. Mm-mm. It's because your souls are tied. You're tied together. You're bonded together. That's why spiritually it's best to be responsible when it comes to your physical form. That's why you hear to abstain. When you abstain, you're embracing your purity, your essence, your spiritual essence is being fortified. So if you're constantly skeeting, well, unfortunately, you're attracting their essence, which is unstable, and you're seeing it play out in your life. And it ain't nothing paid. And I'm going to tell you what, don't get caught up in what you see. Really, discern it. Discern it. What do I always say? If it's divinely meant, it will be. That's not turning a blind eye. That's not having a nonchalant approach on things. No, that is truly authentic. Just like your peace of mind, that beautiful mind of yours. You'll come to understand the most prized possession in your physical form is your spirit. But your understanding will be right behind it. Because you got to have clarity to discern. And when you embrace those two together, you won't walk in fear. But see, people misconstrued that. And they say, well, I'm not afraid of anything. That's false ego. Because deep down inside, you are shaking like a leaf. You're terrified of the unknown. And you're bewildered why things are revealed. Why you think those people know what they know? You're just baffled. How do they know? It's God. Come on, man. We only use 6% of our brain, y'all. 6%. Yet we're able to manifest. See, that's the one thing that, not to stray, that scientists don't like. That's why they do what they do, because they try to debunk. Your arms are not long enough to box with God. What? If that's not arrogance, I don't know what is. But trust and believe, a lot of that stuff ain't nothing but modern day witchcraft too. Why do you think we have some of the breakthroughs that we have? How do you think they got it? It's given by the devil. He's trying to do whatever he has to do so he can even up with God. He will always fall short. So, of course, he's going to reveal secrets to mankind to try to undermine his divine his divine gift. Come on now. I know, I know. What you really want to know is this. We're going to talk about those traumas. We're going to get through them because the person that you destined to be is relying on the fact if you will do the work or not. Why do you think some people, you see this play out? You see people in a relationship, right? And you don't know nothing about them, but they just fit. They fit, good or bad, but they fit. And then they part. And you're like, why did they split? Over something small? No, they didn't split because of something small. Divinely, they were divided because they both shared a delusional mindset. They signed on to something, an experience, when in actuality, they were lying to themselves all along. It was to feed their ego. You see this all the time. You see somebody, and I'm not trying to sound shallow, but this is the only way I know how to describe it. You see someone dating above their level or dating below it. It's to feed their validation of who they are. So the person that is aiming high, they're just shocking all that person is with them, but they don't realize maybe divinely God put that person in their lives to show them something different, something better, something for them. And what happens? They get bored. They don't like the challenge. They don't want to do the work. So they take it upon themselves, and you see them out and about with this one, with that one, with this one, with that one, with this one. Merry-go-round. But you know deep down inside, they long for the one. This is where the proverbial emotional chase begins. Yes, queens, I'm going to tell on you. That old, I met this person, I'll wait 2 days. We conversate, you call me back. That cycle of that wastes so much time when if you were comfortable in your own skin, why don't you ask the questions that need to be asked? Sometimes it's because you're afraid to look at it for what it is. So we try to be methodical in our choices, only to pay a price. Those are your scars. Now, you do understand you're going to have to make a choice to fight for you, to unlearn the perceptions that make up your psychology, your psyche. Unfortunately, you have those that will not. And unfortunately, their lives play out not in their favor. But that's another story. That's another topic and another video. I'm just letting you know right now, you are at your crossroads. What you're doing right now is imperative because it is going to impact your future. I ain't got to tell you that. You've been wrestling with it oh so long and you're tired. You're tired. Why do you think you're grumpy all the time? Why do you think people don't get you? They don't get you because they're not supposed to be with you. So, you have to make this day you. You. No more running from yourself. Think about, if anything, think about all those things you sacrificed. You put on a back burner to appease your environment. For what? More tears? More disappointment? Why do you think you got them bruises on your body right now? Why do you think your mindset is all shook up? You thought never in a million years you'd be in that scenario. But guess what? That was a spiritual lesson you had to learn. Because if you look back, in one way or another, you did the same thing. Everything we do comes full circle because it's the energy that we put out. So, just like the tide, it has to return back to the source. You're the source. And guess what? I know you can do it. I know you can. I'm praying for you, just like somebody prayed for me. So the question is, are you ready? Or are you going to let another day be robbed from you again? God's praying for you. You know I am. I see your worth. You know I do. And for that, for that, for that, it helps me discern mine. I'm telling you, y'all, there's no burden that can't be healed. There's no actions that can't be forgiven. Doesn't mean you got to forget. Because you know what? For every fear that you have inside you, on the backside of it is a blessing. Will you claim it? I'd love to hear from you. Bye.